Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Happy reading. Social institution. Social institution can be defined as a broad goal oriented behavior which is firmly established. It becomes possible to understand and predict the behavior of people because of this established pattern of behavior found in a society. The study of social institutions therefore includes groups, roles, norms, beliefs, and practices in a particular area of social life. Social institution provides the framework within which people in different societies and cultures live. It provides the very structure of society. People are born in a family, which is an institution. They are nurtured and socialized in this institution, which is governed by the values and norms and mores of that society. How the family and its members earn their living depends upon the economic institutions of their society. How they maintain order and administration depends on the political institutions of that society. How information and skills are passed from one generation to another depends upon the educational institution of that society. Finally, how people explain their existence in society from where they have come before birth and where they will go after death. That is, the religious experience is established by the religious institutions. Thus, all social institutions in a given society are interrelated. Family, as an institution, forms the pivot around which all other social institutions move, as it provides the individual members to the society. Therefore, as Perry and Perry mention, it's important to remember that institutions are simply abstract concepts of organized habits and standardized way of doing things. We cannot see institutions. What we can see are families, schools, banks, and so on. Culture is an essential aspect of all societies. You will learn more about this in the next section. Culture. Besides society, role, status, and institution, culture is another important theme that engages the attention of sociologists. Ordinarily, even those who are not at all familiar with sociology are familiar with the word culture. In our daily life, we may describe some people as very cultured. We give such a label if persons concerned are refined and polished in their behavior and manner. But sociologists do not use the term culture in this sense. They have their own special understanding of it. In sociological terms, culture can be defined as the total sum of human activities which are learnt. It is passed on from generation to generation through membership of a particular society. As various learning processes in human societies involve systems of tools, communications, and symbols, we can also say that concept of culture refers to a system of tools, communications, and symbols. People, in order to learn new activities, require tools, language, and symbols. Cultures in human societies differ from one another and also change over time. One of the gains of studying sociology is that besides giving an idea of various cultures, it also helps to develop an understanding of other cultures than one's own. Culture and human behavior. A little reflection will show that in similar situations, people of different cultures reveal differences in the way they meet these situations. For example, while greeting friends and relatives at home or on the street, men in a society may shake hands with other men, but as a rule, not with women. Similarly, notwithstanding great hunger, a vegetarian refuses non vegetarian food. This is because culture influences our behavior in given situations. Stated in sociological terms, culture is normative. That is, it provides standards of proper conduct and also, therefore, tells us what is right or wrong. Concretely, these standards are provided to us by what are called cultural norms. Thus, While many college students smoke these days, they do not normally do so in the presence of their elders or teachers. In our culture, such an act is considered to be wrong, that is, contrary to our cultural norms. The content of the non material culture of every society consists of a large number of norms. These norms are learnt and enforced by folkways and mores. Folkways. These are behavior patterns that govern most of our daily life and contacts with other people. Thus, rising up from seats when teachers enter into classrooms, allowing women to purchase tickets without queuing, distribution of sweets after getting a job or a promotion, and so on are examples of folkways. A number of folkways are simply acts of politeness. In order that folkways may not be taken lightly, mechanisms such as praise, approval, and acceptance exist to make individuals conform to them. Conversely, a word of criticism, frown, or a sarcastic remark or laughter are modes of expressing disapproval of incorrect behavior. Since most people desire that they should not look funny or be considered rude and uncouth by their group, they fall in line with what the group expects and desires. Therefore, most people conform to the folkways without even being aware that they are conforming or that there are alternative ways of behaving. Mores. These are norms that are considered to be important by group and even vital for its welfare. Violation of these violation of mores evokes an emotional response, and instead of the mere raising of eyebrow or ridicule, a strong group action follows. Thus, prohibition of the consumption of beef and alcoholic drinks are part of the mores of Hindu and Muslim societies, respectively. Any violation of these will not be tolerated. Mores are linked to cultural values. It should now be clear that mores are norms of a higher order than folkways. There is an element of compulsion in them, and they are linked to the dominant values of the culture. Mores clearly and definitely reflect the concepts of what is moral and immoral. This is seen from the fact that mores are generally expressed in terms of a must behavior. For example, all married men and women must remain faithful to their spouses and must observe sexual fidelity. Or negatively, in terms of must not behavior. For example, women should not expose their bodies. Values. Values, the ultimate essence and spirit of cultures, are the underlying principles and ideas on the basis of which societies and individuals choose their goals. Values are also the criteria on which social and individual ends and means are judged and evaluated. Apart from goals, all conduct and behavior, whether for achieving these goals or otherwise, are judged and evaluated in the framework of accepted values. Any action that is contrary to the cherished values of the group or society is condemned and punished. For example, in Indian society, there is a value regarding junior persons' behavior towards senior persons. Any deviance from accepted behavior is always a subject of criticism. Unlike norms, which are quite specific, values tend to be generalized ideals and somewhat abstract. Nevertheless, they attract the total commitment of the society. Subcultures. Another important point to bear in mind is that in the case of complex and heterogeneous societies like India, which are characterized by many religious, linguistic, and other diversities, it is usual to have a number of subcultures within the framework of the larger overall cultures. Thus, in India, religious communities like Muslims, Christians, or Sikhs, or linguistic groups like Tamilians, Maharashtrians, or Punjabis, and so on, have their own subcultural characteristics that distinguish them from other communities or groups. But simultaneously, we also share certain core values like secularism, democracy, and equality of all citizens, irrespective of our diversities, and these integrate us. But heterogeneous societies have constantly to keep emphasizing and nurturing their more universal and cultural values so that they are not forsaken in favor of the subcultural values. Social change. In tracing the origins of sociology, as well as in pointing out the concerns of early sociologists, it had been indicated that the changes brought by the Industrial Revolution had a major role to play in the birth of modern sociology. Due to this, sociology and sociologists have never lost sight of the study of social change, and this interest has been major concern of the discipline throughout its entire history of about 200 years. Although sociologists have been studying the process of social change for a long time, it is difficult to give a brief and precise definition. Social change refers to the process by which alterations occur in society or social relations. Social change is a continuous process. Social change can be caused by many factors. Increased population can bring about changes. Innovations, that is, new ideas or an object, can bring about new relationships. It is also possible that one society can borrow ideas or objects from other societies, which may cause variation in social relations. Later on, you would be studying various theories of social change: evolution, cyclical, conflict, modernization, and development. The leading sociologists who have been referred to in Unit 1 have their own ideas about how change occurs, which will be discussed later. Agents of change. An important question is the identity of agents of change. As mentioned earlier, any subunits or institutions are instruments through which social change can be effected. Some of the institutions are more important than the others. The economic, political, and educational institutions are more central in effecting change. Religion can act as an agent of change as well as resistance to change. Although the society continuously undergoes change, it must be pointed out there is usually resistance to change. New ideas and new behavior patterns are not easily accepted. Even material innovations like take time to be accepted. Even material innovations also take time to be accepted and diffused in any society. For example, trains were considered as in England as the work of the devil. Resistance is greater when traditional values and beliefs are involved.